So Arsenal come into this fixture at the top of the table. Liverpool are in a Champions League spot as of now on 34 points, 14 points below Arsenal. But Liverpool are closer to 17th in Nottingham Forest, only 13 points above them. So Liverpool want to win tonight to lessen that point between them and Arsenal. And this is what head coach Arne Slot had to say when he spoke to the media this morning.
We have to be completely ready because they are as well. They are in a very positive vibe at the moment, and it's obvious that we aren't, especially because we've conceded again a late goal. But I think everyone, me for sure, is looking forward to this game because. It's always nice to be part of a Liverpool game, but especially if you face the Real Madrids or Arsenal's or City or these kind of games. So we're definitely looking forward to going there tomorrow.
Let's talk about these two teams, specifically Liverpool, Jeff. They brought in so many players in the summer, and I felt like we had big expectations of them. They won the league last year, but they haven't performed to maybe the level that we expected them to. Why is that?
Yeah, those expectations included some fools saying that they'll win the title, Wirtz will be player of the year.
Some fools.
I see where you're going with this, yeah. I tell you what, though, I would say is of late they've kind of crept back, kind of under the radar to fourth place. I think they're on a 9-game unbeaten run. Ekitike doesn't look like he's going to make it. I think that would be massive for this particular game. But I just think a little bit of confidence has returned. I know they dropped points at the weekend. I still think Arsenal will win. I think Arsenal will win this game. I think Arsenal are red hot right now. They're right in the groove. But I think Liverpool have improved somewhat on where they were a month ago.
And there is doubts over Ugo Ekitike. They're obviously without Mo Salah due to AFCON, and Isak's got his injury. Who could we see replacing Ekitike and filling that void in that team?
I mean, Chiesa is probably the first person that comes to mind, only because of, I think, the ambition and the expectations that's on his shoulders, which is pretty much none. So you come into a team, you naturally know that you can pretty much put your best foot forward. But the responsibility will really fall on Cody Gakpo because he's the goal scorer now. He has to step into that prominent position, and he has to, more importantly, lead this line as the most experienced out of the three and understanding the responsibility of wearing that Liverpool shirt. He will know that he has to be the prominent forward in this team to cause a threat, because he can go both in behind in terms of and stretch that Arsenal back four, and also come deep and then obviously play off the inside left or inside right. So I think he's a really, really good forward. I think he could still win a game by himself, but it just shows you in terms of the depth. When you take three key players out of their team, all of a sudden the backup forwards don't look as attractive or as promising as Liverpool maybe once thought.
Can I tell you somebody who needs to have a big game to kind of continue the path that he's on is Florian Wirtz.
Yeah.
This could be a game, let's just say Liverpool beats Arsenal, right? And we're going to be talking again, the title race is back on. That people are going to remember this game for Florian Wirtz because it's such a marquee matchup in the season. And especially given the fact that he's taken so long to get started, right? He's only getting started. It's not like he's playing lights out. We're starting to see what Florian Wirtz can offer. And if he shows up against Arsenal, people are going to be like, oh, that's why we paid so much money for this kid, because he can be that good. And I want to see the Florian Wirtz that I saw by Leverkusen.
Is it harder, though, Nico? Is it harder for him, though, in a disrupted side, for him to weave his magic?
Almost like there's more responsibility that falls onto him. He's more of the superstar on this team, whereas instead of having to share the spoils a little bit, understand what it's like to fit into a team full of superstars, almost without a lot of these guys. Because Ekitike is a baller, bro.
Incredible player.
So good. No Salah. Maybe that responsibility, he starts to take it upon himself to deliver. And maybe against Arsenal he can. And I think if he has a game, we're going to be talking about this as the moment where perhaps things change for him.
What do you think the mindset will be of this Arsenal side, Jeff? They're back at the Emirates Stadium. It's been their fortress this season so far. How do you think they'll be feeling going into this game? Confident.
I think they'll feel they owe Liverpool one from earlier in the season. I think it's a different Arsenal now. I've said all along, my question marks about Arsenal is the mentality. How much they really believe. But right now they're answering all the questions, and then this run of games, a run of teams who they dropped points against last season, and they've won the last four against opponents they dropped points against. So That's massive for them, absolutely massive. So I think they'll be confident, and I think they will feel that it's a long, long way to go, but just psychologically, we're past the halfway mark. So there's just something there that they will think, right, okay, if we can keep putting the pedal to the metal, we've got a chance here.
There's something about sending messages to your rivals too, especially teams that have beaten you within the league season. And I think they sent a message to Aston Villa after the Emi Buendia, obviously the debacle at Villa Park in the last few minutes. Stop your smiling, Hannah Cash. Yeah, for a second.
I'm not smiling about the second game.
But the second game, you see that Arsenal wanted to send a message. There was a level of intensity, especially in the second half. I think there's going to be a response again from Arsenal, and knowing Mikel Arteta, he's going to want to inject that level of intensity once again, probably from minute one, because they'll look at their loss columns and think about those games and think, well, we probably shouldn't have lost either of those games. It was almost a Golazo from Szoboszlai, if I remember, the free kick that was
like out of
incredible.
A goal from another game.
Incredible. So when you really think about the two teams in that instance, there wasn't that much of a difference between them. Now you get an opportunity to bring them to your ground on a Thursday where you know all the attention's going to be on you, and more importantly, your rivals have already played. This could be a statement win for them.
If we look at the projected 22, the lineups, Nico, there's no Eze, and we haven't seen Eze start, come off the bench in the last 4 games in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And that's, people might be thinking, why? Why aren't they giving Eze this chance after this big summer signing?
Because Arsenal's been doing really well without him. Simple as that. Like, if you can't break into the team, you can't break into the team. Like, sure, it's a great signing. I feel like it was almost like a hijack Spurs to have an incredible talent like Eberechi Eze. But at the moment, in the last 4 games, he's been on the bench, hasn't featured, but Arsenal's kind of found their groove.
I also do think this is just everyone feeding into narratives, because this is a 50-game season. Arsenal will be circling every competition that they're in still at this point, and knowing that they have to go far in every single one of those competitions for it to be deemed a successful season. If you think that Eze is going to be having a lot more moments where he's just not involved in terms of the squad selection, full stop, throughout the rest of the season, that's just not going to happen, because injuries, as you've seen, has been a result in Arsenal's squad this year, and more importantly, the drop in form. But I think Nico alluded to it. How do you change a team that's rolling? Because Jeff spoke and said this team is going through a number of results right now and beating teams that they were dropping points to last year. Why would you upset the rhythm of that team if they're doing so well?
The other thing as well, right now, Trossard, he's undroppable. He's fantastic. Sometimes he'll go for Martinelli's pace. His return to form, he's sensational right now. So why would you mess with it?
And you can't take Declan Rice out, because we're already having the conversation about him being one of the best players in world football. So Zubimendi has been arguably the signing of the season. Where does he fit? So it's not necessarily is he playing badly or is he going to have his moments? It's where does he fit?
Would you change anything in that team?
This team right now, this team has looked the most solid, I think, out of every team that Arsenal has played so far. The only question mark I have is, I think Gabriel Jesus showed his little bit of individual brilliance in that Villa performance in glimpses. So he could be a starting factor in terms of in this.
In Spanish, there's an idiom, one of the many idioms in football. Equipo que se gana no se toca. A team that wins, you don't touch it.
Facts.
And why would you change these things? I look at Florian Wirtz, now that I see everything, by the way, just to put a pin on that conversation, him drifting out wide with Cody Hakpo, interchanging, that's a position that he likes. So I would just put an eye on that as a potential way for Liverpool to upset Arsenal.
Just a real quick on that note, look how solid this midfield is as well. It's not as expansive as Liverpool had it in the early part of the season. They've really tried to solidify, and each one of those players will understand what it's like to help those players in the middle. Look for an overload in Liverpool trying to dominate the possession in the middle of that park.
Well, let's bring in Buckets for his best bets of tomorrow's fixture. Buckets, it's always lovely to see you. What bets have you got for us for tomorrow?
Good morning, everyone. Great to see you as well. I've got a few bets for us as always, but before I give you those, I gotta say that it's always important to admit when you're wrong in this space. And I have to admit that I have been wrong by not giving Arsenal enough credit. When I was on the show last week, I gave out Arsenal versus Aston Villa, both teams to score. And while that did hit, it definitely didn't hit how I thought I would. I talked about how good Aston Villa was, how Arsenal, even at home, they have to be careful. And obviously, they don't have to be as careful as I thought here. So I'm going to back Arsenal in a big way this in this matchup. My first bet is going to be Arsenal on the money line. However, the money line's minus 185, a bit too juicy, so I'm adding plus over 1.5 goals in this game. So Arsenal to win and at least 2 goals brings that all the way down to minus 115. Liverpool missing Isak, missing Salah, probably missing Ekitike right now. This Liverpool team is unbeaten in 9, but Aston Villa was unbeaten in 11, and Arsenal absolutely embarrassed them when playing at home. Not to mention that Liverpool, in that unbeaten run, they're barely squeaking by. Draws against Leeds twice, against Fulham, against Sunderland. They barely beat Wolves. I just think Arsenal have way too much class right now for this Liverpool team to win, but I just think that it's too much right now. So I'm an Arsenal money line plus over 1.5 goals as a same game parlay. For my second bet, I do think that Liverpool aren't going to roll over by any means. This is still a very competitive side under Arne Slot and a team that historically knows how to do very well against Arsenal. So my second bet, I do still think we see both teams to score hit, which is currently priced at minus 110. As good as Arsenal has been, they've been great because of their offense lately. Their defense has been a little bit un-Arsenal-like in the past couple weeks. Their last 4 matches included a 3-2 win, a 4-1 win, a 2-1 win, and a 1-1 draw, and then winning on PKs. This Arsenal team is conceding goals, but frankly, it doesn't matter right now with how good that front line is, how many goals they're scoring. So my best bets for this one are Arsenal on their money line plus over 1.5 goals, and then I'm also going to go with the classic both teams to score as well for this.
Buckets
Good
loves
stuff.
of both teams to score. He loves of both teams to score. Buckets absolutely loves of both teams to score.
Thanks for-
Liverpool tomorrow, the reigning champions, they come to your house. What is the mood around the training ground, the coaching staff, the players, yourself?
I was very excited. A massive game against obviously the champions of the last Premier League, and yeah, we have a point to prove. We're gonna have our crowd, our supporters, very early before 8 o'clock. Everybody there, creating an amazing atmosphere, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, a big atmosphere expected at the Emirates, as you said. It sounds like there's planned for a big stadium mural when the players come out of the tunnel. How much are you calling on your supporters to deliver a result for you tomorrow?
They've been unbelievable again this season, and it makes such a difference. We become a different team. The level of energy, commitment, confidence, desire that we can show in every action is transmitted by them, and we need them tomorrow in every ball.
Yeah, can I ask a bit of team news? Ricardo Calafiori and Christian Mosquera, they're out against Bournemouth. Are they close to being back?
No, they're out again.
When can we see them back? What stage are they at?
I think pretty soon they have to go to the last stage of the rehab, and if everything goes well, hopefully very soon they will be available for selection.
Yeah, and just finally for me, this is the first time we're hearing from you since Ruben Amorim left his job as Manchester United head coach. Now, Sir Jim Ratcliffe actually used Arsenal standing by you as an example, as a reason why Amorim should get 3 years in charge, and obviously he didn't get that time. So what does that say about the support and the trust that the club put in you during the first difficult 12 to 18 months during the time?
Yeah, I can only talk about what I have experienced, and it's always sad to see a colleague losing his job, obviously. We know where we are, and yeah, I think you need support from ownership, and support from your staff, from players. At the end of the game, you need to win a lot of football matches if you want to stay in the job, and that's the reality and the nature of our job.
Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Cal. You mentioned there being a point to prove when you play Liverpool. Is that sort of a case of the fact that they beat you narrowly in that game back in August, or more to do with the fact that you are leading the table at the moment, and that's, you know, a statement if you were to beat the champions?
Yes, I mean, we are top of the table. We play at home against a really, really good opponent, and we want to maintain our position. And in order to do that, we're gonna have to be excellent throughout the game to deserve to win the game, and that's the point we have to prove.
Arne Slot said this morning that he feels that this is the best Arsenal side that there has been in the last couple of years. It seems like an obvious question because you are leading the league by 6 points, but do you feel this is the best Arsenal team that you've assembled and developed? And if so, what makes this team so special?
I don't know. I don't like really comparing, and I think every week the team is different because the players available are different, the position is different. So, yeah, maintain a lot of the great things that the team is doing, the individuals are doing, and consistency is going to be the key to that. And we know the difficulty of every game, and we are approaching that with a lot of excitement, understanding where we are, and with a huge desire that we have to achieve what we want to do in May.
They're on a 9-game unbeaten run, Liverpool. Obviously, they had that good start to the season where they were winning games, but quite narrowly in a lot of the matches. Obviously, they are unbeaten, but perhaps they're not playing their best football. So how do you view the Liverpool side that you're going to be taking on tomorrow?
Well, the margins, I think, for all of us are very small. We always talk about that, and they have a great manager. They have a sensational structure, understanding what they have to do in relation to the players that they select tomorrow in the lineup. They can play in different ways, because at the end, those will make them a little bit different and more specific to what we can expect tomorrow. And we have to be conscious of that, and then focus on what we have to do.
Alex Brucey.
Hi. Can I just ask about Kai Havertz? He was on the bench against Aston Villa, but then not against Bournemouth. How's he getting on in his rehab and return to play?
Yeah, we are monitoring. Obviously, his load has been out for a long time for two different reasons, and he's very close. He trained this morning again, and hopefully we're going to have him available and the best version of Kai very soon.
You had good wins in matches against Newcastle away from home, West Ham at home, and Brighton as well. Teams you dropped points against last season. Drew against Liverpool at home, a game you probably should have won last season as well. Is it another chance to show the progression you've made this campaign?
Yes, at the end we want to win every game, and the most important one is obviously tomorrow's, and we know what we have to do to beat them, and now we have to prove it on the pitch.
Stephen from Arsenal.
I'm Miguel. Leandro Trossard was voted Player of the Month for December recently. What's kind of been behind his fantastic form in Egypt?
Well, first of all, I think his level of understanding and consistency. He's got ability, but the level of consistency he's showing this season in particular, I think has been exceptional. I think he's really clicking with the team in every aspect of the game, and is a player that provides something different to what we have.
And you've spoken about the role that supporters will play tomorrow. What's that actually like when you've got such a huge crowd right behind you? Can you remember from your playing days what it actually feels like?
There's nothing like it. I mean, you become a different player. Your emotional status is better, your energy level is better, your confidence is better. They thrive you to get action with a lot of aggression, with a lot of determination, and that lifts their whole team. So that's what we have to provide tomorrow.
Matt, Evening Standard.
Hi, Miguel.
Hi.
Considering how good Liverpool were last season and the signings they made in the summer, did you expect them to be your sort of main rivals in the title race?
Well, yeah, but obviously that's on paper, but I still think that they are running a superb team, and what they've done as well, and you have to understand as well the context that they had with certain injuries and the difficulty of the league for all of us, but my opinion hasn't changed about them.
And after that Anfield match, there was sort of a lot of talk about whether the team were too cautious to compete with Liverpool. Were you confident you'd always sort of prove that wrong over the course of the season?
I don't know. We always prepare the games to beat them in the best possible manner, in the way that we believe is going to give us the best chance to do that.
Hi, Miguel. Right at the start of this press conference, you just said you feel like there's a point to prove. So I was just wondering what that point is in your head.
We can go again and again. I mean, every week we have a point to prove. We had it a few days ago against Bournemouth after a great win against Villa, and it's going to continue like that till May. And we know that because once we are in the position that we are in, we want to maintain and extend the lead that we have. And in order to do that, our level of determination and desire has to be with that mindset.
In terms of maintaining that through, I guess, weeks where you're playing every 3 days, how do you keep, I guess, everyone, not just players but staff, on that kind of goal, if that makes sense?
Well, we all want it that much that that's what is driving everybody, and that's the superb quality that we have within the club, staff and players especially, because we know what it's going to take to achieve what we want.
And this is maybe a bit of a random one, but I noticed that Martin Zubimendi, Martin Odegaard and Declan Rice were all born within 2 months of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, with those three, when they play, they all seem to gel quite well. And I was wondering if their ages have
so
any...
they started to connect since their birth, yeah?
But how you see
let me investigate about that, and I can come back to you in a few weeks.
Yeah, but how do you see them, I guess, as a trio, both on and off?
It's a great point. So maybe it's something that we have to think about. It's very clear and obvious that they click, they understand each other really well, they complement each other exceptionally well, and that's something that we believe that we could achieve before we brought them together, and now they are doing it.
James, yeah.
Mikel, Amorim and Maresca, they've both left their jobs after speaking about the sort of frustrations with the head coach model. You were hired here, obviously, as head coach, and then you became manager. And I know every club's different, but for you, what difference did that make going from head coach to manager?
Well, it was different at the time when they proposed to change their role and what they thought about in the areas that I could help probably more than probably they expected at the beginning. But at the end, it's about the relationships and the people, because and we have formed great teams with very different qualities, and some that have been more on certain things. And when there is somebody that is much better than me on that, I let him do it. So for me, the title doesn't really reflect the daily. Probably the way we operate daily, I think, is more important the people. And then the morale within that people to really understand that, okay, let's give each other the things that he can master and make us much better, and the rest we just support that idea. That's it.
It must have been a confidence boost for you, though, obviously in your first managerial role, to be given that extra responsibility.
Yeah, because I didn't demand it, we didn't ask for it, and they believe it was the right thing to do. But again, since there, because we have to work with different people, with the changes that we had in recent years, I think when you have a leader, which is ownership, in this case Stan and George that is very close to that, with very clear alignment to all of us, what he wants to do, how he wants to achieve it, that creates that space for everybody. I think it's very easy to work like this.
Thank you.
James, CDS?
I know it's been mentioned already, but going back to that game at Anfield, it felt like the reaction at the time was so immediate and visceral in terms of your perceived style. Have you looked back on that game, and what did you sort of take away from it, and what do you think maybe the broader conversation got wrong?
No. I mean, your opinion, people are entitled to their opinions. Mine was different, but that's the beauty about football.
What was your opinion?
Very different.
Okay, we did the last two in the As Live. Charles, goal?
Hello, Mikel. We saw another brilliant finish from Gabriel at Bournemouth. He's now just 2 goals behind your old teammate Orica Chelney in terms of record goal scorer for a defender in the Premier League for Arsenal. I'm sure you expect him to break that record pretty soon, probably, the rate he scores at. But what is it that sort of, do you think, that sets him apart from pretty much all other defenders at the moment when it comes to the art of goal scoring in the opposition box?
Desire to score, and then the amount of work that he puts in, and attention and detail to get himself in the best possible positions to do that and to execute what the game and especially certain actions are going to demand of him.
And just on Pierre Hincapié, he seems to have really sort of settled in now and adapted and stepped up in Ricardo's absence. How impressed have you been with his way he's adapted to the Premier League, especially after missing out early on through injury?
Very impressed, because obviously he came very, very late in the market without pre-season after a surgery as well. So yeah, I mean, it's been immense. I mean, for everything that we ask him to do, he's fulfilled that in various roles as well. So yeah, it's been I think it's been a big boost for the team and another step in terms of what he can bring to the team.
Phil?
Hi, Mikel. This group of players have got more points than the Invincibles managed after 20 games, more points, more goals. Obviously, you've been here a long time as a player and as a manager. Do you think that this group that you have is as good as the Invincibles, if not better?
No, because the Invincibles won a lot, and they won consistently, and they created a history and legacy, and we have to do that.
But when you speak to the players, is that sort of, are they ever mentioned? Because obviously they're legends of the club, and obviously.
No, obviously there is a lot of stats, but in the last 2-3 years as well, we had stats and more points and more goals in the history of that. But at the end, we have to translate that to major trophies and what we want to do. And probably now what we are doing, it would have been enough, but now it's not enough, and we have to make it the margins even bigger. And
Leandro Trossard proved to be the perfect antidote to Arsenal's attacking frustrations, following Mikel Arteta's candid remarks about Victor Gyökeres. Gyökeres may have struggled to truly impress since his summer arrival at Arsenal, but over the weekend, there was finally a glimpse of what he is capable of. More importantly, Trossard showed exactly why he could be the key to unlocking the Swedish striker's full potential during Arsenal's hard-fought 2-1 victory over Wolves at the Emirates Stadium. The 31-year-old winger injected fresh energy into Mikel Arteta's side on Saturday night and helped breathe new life into the Gunners' attack. Shortly after replacing Gabriel Martinelli in the second half, Arsenal found the breakthrough. While Trossard did not directly contribute to either the opening goal or the dramatic stoppage time winner, his influence on the game was undeniable. Trossard took control of proceedings, dictating the tempo and pulling the strings down the left flank. Time and again, he dismantled Wolves' compact defensive setup, releasing Miles Lewis-Skelly into space, picking out Declan Rice on the edge of the box, and crucially, feeding Gyökeres with intelligent, well-timed passes. Operating as a creative hub, the Belgian showcased his playmaking qualities, delivering sharp, purposeful distribution. His introduction completely shifted the momentum of the match, and for the first time in weeks, Arsenal's $64 million striker briefly looked like a genuine threat. Before Trossard's arrival, Gyökeres endured a frustrating and ineffective outing in attack. In fact, the Belgian was the only player to carve out a clear-cut opportunity for the 27-year-old forward, slipping a simple yet incisive ball in behind the Wolves' backline. Gyökeres controlled the pass, beat his defender, and aimed for the far post. Wolves goalkeeper Sam Johnstone was beaten, but the Swedish striker saw his effort agonizingly drift just wide. If Arteta truly wants to get the best out of Gyökeres, then granting Trossard a more prominent role in the starting 11th could be the solution. Speaking to TNT Sports after the win, the Arsenal manager openly addressed the challenges facing his marquee signing. "It's a collaboration between the two," Arteta explained. "He was in some really good positions, but the ball didn't arrive quickly enough, accurately enough, or with the precision a number 9 needs to score." But his commitment and intention were there, and we have to keep pushing. Arteta was equally vocal in defending Gyökeres prior to the match, urging patience with the striker's adaptation to English football. "There was huge expectation because we were signing a proven goal scorer, probably with the best statistics in Europe," Arteta said. "But he's coming into a different league, the most demanding league in the world. What happens if he doesn't score in 5 or 6 games? That was the only question I asked him. How are you going to react if you don't score in 5 or 6 matches? Can you handle that? And what about the next 100 games? That's what people need to see. The sample size is still very small, so leave him alone. Let him do what he does best. Support him, and I'm convinced things will come good." That message from Arteta resonated beyond the Emirates. In the days following the Wolves' victory, the debate around Gyökeres intensified among pundits, supporters, and former players. While some questioned whether Arsenal's record signing is truly suited to the Premier League's pace and physicality, others pointed to the structural issues around him rather than the striker himself. Much of the post-match analysis focused on Arsenal's chance creation and balance in the final third. The Wolves game highlighted a recurring theme this season. Gyökeres often makes the right movements, but the service into dangerous areas has been inconsistent. When Trossard entered the match, that problem briefly disappeared. Arsenal suddenly looked more fluid, more unpredictable, and far better equipped to supply a traditional number 9. Former players speaking on television and radio were quick to note the contrast. With Trossard drifting inside and linking play, Arsenal's attacking shape became more compact, allowing Gyökeres to stay higher up the pitch and occupy central defenders. That, in turn, created space for midfield runners like Rice and Ødegaard to arrive late in the box. It was a glimpse of an attacking formula that Arsenal have rarely sustained this season. The reaction from supporters has been equally divided. While frustration with Gyökeres' goal return remains, there is growing appreciation for his work rate, physical presence, and willingness to press from the front. Many fans now see Trossard as the missing connector, the player who can translate Gyökeres' movement into genuine scoring opportunities. Internally, Arteta faces an important decision. Persisting with a front line that isolates Gyökeres risks damaging the striker's confidence, especially with tougher fixtures on the horizon. At the same time, promoting Trossard to a regular starting role could mean reshuffling wide positions and reducing Martinelli's minutes, a bold call that would not come without consequences. Yet football at the highest level often comes down to chemistry rather than reputation. The Wolves match suggested that Arsenal's most expensive signing may not need drastic changes to his own game, but rather the right supporting cast around him. If Arteta embraces that idea, Gyökeres's slow start could soon be remembered as nothing more than a difficult adjustment period. For now, the pressure remains. Goals will ultimately define Gyökeres's Arsenal career, and patience in North London is never unlimited. But with Trossard offering clarity, creativity, and calm in possession, Arsenal may finally have found the key to unlocking their striker and turning promise into consistent production.